Kalimera, AEGEAN 600 race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis here with the Day 5 report here from the AEGEAN 600. We have just a few teams still left out on the race course, as you can see. Another thing you can see is that the Meltemi is still being persistent through the middle of the course. It's not at the same high velocity it was earlier in this race, but still, 10 to 15 knots. It's good, good enough to get boats moving along. I will see about where these teams are, so bear with me here. Okay, so a couple of interesting things. One is we talked yesterday about holes in the race course and the lengths to which the teams out here have been trying to get away from these holes. So even though here using the Windy app, it's showing certain wind speeds and directions of the Meltemi in detail and out there on the race course, it can be quite different. So bring your attention to these sorts of things in the tracks. So these guys, which is Rot Gipfiller, is a Nylon 400 for an Austrian team. So they look like they're going great now, 8 knots of boat speed, headed toward the finish over here at Cape Saugno. But just a few hours earlier, you can see they did a little button hook in their track. So they stopped here. And this is all the effect of the islands. The islands can have effect on the wind, both to leeward and to, like in this case, to windward. So it's been interesting to me to see with this island in particular that it's one where some teams have gone to leeward, some have gone to windward, and sometimes they get the same result, sometimes they get different results. So here's another example. These teams out here, Fizzy is a First 36, relatively new Beneteau design, and they, you can see they too, 0.4 knots. They're to windward of this island, and have been circling around here for quite some time. The X41 Rafika, Bulgarian team, 2.7 knots. They too, as you can see by their track, have hit something here. So this could be of interest for these two boats that are approaching. So the Areti is a Sunfast 3300. They're going along quite nicely, 7.8 knots for that boat's a good speed for sure. And then our double-handed entry out here, Ether, the Daler 30. This is the smallest boat in the fleet. These guys have been out there for 5 days, 2 of them, sailing this course, which, as we know, has had tremendous challenge from 40 knots to 0 knots and everything in between. So hats off to Jerry and Evie for hanging in there. They've got a crown over the symbol for their boat because they're going to be a double-handed, first and double-handed IRC as well as ORC. So hats off to them. I think the other double-handed entries exited the race some time ago. So, they're going to get the endurance prize for sure. Over here, Isera is another First 36. They're going along pretty nicely. This boat from Italy is also persevered. Not a big boat at all, but relatively new design, and when well sailed, it can get through all this. So hats off to them. They're making their final approach. I just wanted to point this out. These are really these aren't the last boats on the course, but this is the last of the competitive group that are coming in toward the finish line. Quite a few boats dropped out in this race, 1/3 of the fleet, in fact. So that points toward the tough conditions, not just for a lot of wind, but actually for a little wind. So this race this year has had challenges all around. Thank you for tuning in, and we may have another final report tomorrow just to give an overview of the race, but thank you for your interest in the AEGEAN 600, and I'll sign off for now. For Seahorse Magazine, I'm Dobbs Davis.